Hello, welcome back to Laugh Often. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy Monday, everybody. So, I recorded an entire episode. I think it was like 30 minutes worth of audio, and it got completely lost. I don't know what happened. I recorded in voice memos on my laptop with a mic, and then I renamed the recording, which is what I always do. And then I clicked away from it, and it is gone. I searched the library of all the voice memos. I looked at the recently deleted. It's completely gone. So here we are, second time around. Today's going to be a solo episode. We're going to be discussing my book recommendations right now. This is super, super fun. And I've been really getting into reading a lot. I never thought I would be one of those people that's like, oh, I love reading. What book are you into? Oh my gosh, I'm reading this book. Never thought I'd be doing that. Here we are. I'm obsessed with reading. I am obsessed. And the genre that really got me hooked into reading, I would say, were thrillers. I love a good thriller. And, as a kid, I never really liked reading. I always loved writing. So those of you that don't know, I am in the process of writing a sci-fi book. So in order to be a good writer, you need to be a good reader. So I'm trying to read as many books as I possibly can. I get recommendations from a bunch of people in my life, and I want to read all of the books, It's funny, once you get into reading, you're like, oh my gosh, it almost seems like there's infinite amount of books, because it's like, oh my gosh, I have to read this book and this book and this book, and then you just keep hopping on the train of like different books that you want to read, and it's a good experience. And I always thought for the longest time that it was a waste of time reading. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm just reading, like I could be doing something else, but what else would I really be doing? Right? Watching TV, you know what I mean? Watching movies. It's really kind of the same. You could even argue that reading is better for you. It improves your vocabulary and all that other good stuff. It enriches your life in a different way than movies or television would. But really, I think one of my favorite experiences would be to read a book and then immediately go watch the movie. I think that is such a fun experience, especially if the movie's coming out in the theater. I love the experience of going to a movie theater. So reading the book and then seeing it in the theater, and then seeing, maybe what they'd missed from the book, or to see how, the characters are different from what I imagined. It's so funny. I don't know if anyone else does this, but when I read a book, I don't really imagine the characters fully. Like, I don't imagine full faces. It's almost like when I read, I kind of picture people as like, I don't know, I don't really see faces. I just kind of, almost like the silhouette, I kind of imagine, almost like when you're dreaming of someone, sometimes you don't completely see their full face and everything. It's just kind of like the vague silhouette image of them, maybe like an eye color, a hair color, and that's it. So that's kind of how I imagine people when I read. So I don't really have someone completely like in my head of a character, right? And then when I see the movie, though, I'm always a little bit like, I didn't picture that, I don't know if anyone else does that when they read, but that's just something that I do when I read. Anyway, the first book that I wanted to recommend, this was the very first book that got me into reading, got me excited about reading, is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. So this book is a psychological thriller. It is a novel by A.J. Finn. The story follows Dr. Anna Fox, an agoraphobic child psychologist living alone in New York City, who believes she witnesses a crime in the house across the street. This book is so good. It follows the theme of having an unreliable narrator. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And I actually recorded a book club podcast episode on this book. So if you read the book, check out the book club podcast. You can search it in the, in my Spotify podcast library. The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. It'll come up right away. I did a whole book club talk about it. So definitely read the book, listen to the book club episode on my podcast, and also the movie is incredible as well. So definitely watch the movie too. It's starring Amy Adams. It's so good. And the chapters are very short, which is great. This was, the first book that really got me into reading. So the chapters were really short. It was exciting. It kept me on the edge of my seat. It was a very exciting, suspenseful thriller. So I would definitely recommend this as like a first book to like get started into the momentum of reading. The next book I want to recommend is also a psychological thriller. It's called The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This story follows Rachel, a woman who becomes obsessed with a couple she sees from her commuter train and gets entangled in their lives after witnessing something shocking. The novel explores themes of obsession, memory, and the unreliable nature of perception, told through the perspectives of three women. This is an incredible, incredible book as well. Again, follows the same theme, unreliable narrator. So good. Similar to The Woman in the Window, this book has a little bit longer chapters. It was a little bit of a challenge for me, like just starting reading. But it was so, so good. I love this book. Also, I did a book club episode on the podcast as well for The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. You could search that in my Spotify podcast library. You can also check that out as well after you read it. And also, the movie's incredible, starring Emily Blunt. Again, very, very suspenseful, at the edge of your seat. You want to keep reading the chapters. You don't want to put the book down. Obviously I don't want to give too much away, but it's exciting. It's really good. And the movie is really, really good as well. So very, very enjoyable. My next book recommendation is a science fiction thriller. This is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It's a science fiction thriller that explores the concept of the multiverse and the consequences of choices. The story follows Jason Desson, a physics professor who's abducted and finds himself in an alternate reality where he is a celebrated scientist who has achieved groundbreaking discoveries in quantum mechanics. Determined to return to his original life, Jason embarks on a journey through multiple realities, facing versions of himself and grappling with questions of identity, destiny, and love. This book is incredible. So, so good. I am in the process, very, very early process of writing a sci-fi book. So I love reading sci-fi as well. Oh, it's such a good book. Oh my gosh. And it's also an Apple TV show. I actually did a book club podcast on the book and the first season of the Apple TV show on my podcast. So again, you could search in the library. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It's the book club. So after you read the book, check out the book club on my podcast and also watch the Apple TV show. Season 2 is coming out, I think, soon. I think next year. And Blake Crouch is actually writing for television, writing the show as well. So, the author's super involved in it. It's, oh my gosh, it's so good. If you like sci-fi, reading sci-fi, watching sci-fi, I highly, highly recommend this. Season 2 is coming out between late 2025 and early 2026. The show was also incredible. It was such a great experience to read the book and then watch the show. It was very suspenseful, very sci-fi-y, about alternate realities, the multiverse. I also learned quite a lot about physics, also reading the book, so it was such an enjoyable read. Highly recommend. Very suspenseful, on the edge of your seat, very mystical, and how he wrote the book, it was very easy to imagine everything. Going with the sci-fi theme, my next book recommendation is, of course, A Wrinkle in Time. It's a young adult science fantasy novel by Madeleine L'Engle. The story follows Meg Murray, her younger brother Charles Wallace, and their friend Calvin O'Keefe as they embark on a journey through space and time to rescue Meg and Charles Wallace's father, a scientist who has disappeared while working on a mysterious project. For those of you that don't know already, this is my favorite movie of all time. A Wrinkle in Time, the 2003 version. I watched the movie first as a kid, fell in love with it, and I think only like a year or two ago I read the book. The book is also incredible. Love the book. I would suggest reading the book before you watch the movie, but the book was incredible. The movie was incredible. Again, if you're into the sci-fi stuff, this is so good. It's very easy to imagine how she writes it. It's very suspenseful. It's just great. Like I don't want to give too much away, but I love the character development in this book. And it's exciting. The story is exciting. They embark on this journey. Meg and Charles Wallace's father, he's a scientist. He disappeared. Everybody is like, oh, like, where did he go? Blah, blah, blah. It's like just a complete disappearance, right? And they have to find him and travel through space and time. And they mention concepts like the Tesseract. And, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And there's a little bit of romance in there as well. The next book I recommend is a classic novel masterpiece, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Follows the experiences of 16-year-old Holden Caulfield as he navigates a period of alienation and disillusionment after being expelled from his prep school. The story, told from Holden's perspective, explores themes of adolescence, identity, loss of innocence, and the hypocrisy of the adult world. This is such a good book. It's so relatable. I think this is the best character development book I've ever read. The character development of Holden Caulfield is unmatched. It's so good. It's a very simple kind of story, right? He gets kicked out of school. He goes around New York City. We see everything through his lens and his inner monologue. It's a pretty simple story, but it captures the reader so well, and it's like you fall in love with Holden Caulfield. It's such a good book. I cannot recommend it enough, and there's so many themes and hidden meanings behind it. I loved it. I read it in high school. I want to read it again. It's such a good book. It's one of those books that is simple in terms of the plot, but it's so satisfying to read. And J.D. Salinger totally changed the whole game, in terms of like this new writing style as well. There is no movie for Catcher in the Rye because basically the author and his estate have refused to grant film rights. Salinger was deeply attached to the novel and felt that no one could portray Holden Caulfield as authentically as he envisioned. He also had concerns about the limitations of the film and the potential for misrepresentation of his work. So there's no movie for The Catcher in the Rye, but at the same time, it kind of makes the book better and sweeter. I don't know, it's kind of charming that there's no movie for The Catcher in the Rye. I did, however, just watch The Rebel in the Rye with Nicholas Hoult. That's all about J.D. Salinger's life. That is an incredible movie. You should definitely check that out. And doing a deep dive just into J.D. Salinger's life would be a whole separate podcast episode. But yeah, highly recommend that movie, The Rebel in the Rye, and read The Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye is incredible. The next book I would recommend is called The Queen's Code. It's a novel by Alison Armstrong. You can get the book on Amazon. It is incredible. I love this book. This book explores the dynamics of relationships between men and women, focusing on how women can better understand and communicate with men. The book uses a fictional narrative to convey the core principles of Armstrong's work, which emphasizes appreciating men's unique perspectives and fostering positive interactions. The core concept centers around the idea that women can draw out the best in men by understanding their language and appreciating their inherent qualities. I absolutely love this book, and I love that it's not super self-helpy because it's actually a fictional story and characters that you can follow along. The story follows Kimberly, who seeks advice and discovers a hidden treasure of knowledge about men within her own family. So you can follow these specific characters. There's Kimberly, Karen, Claudia. You can follow their stories. So it doesn't feel super like you need to do this, you need to do that, like more of a traditional self-help book. And you get really invested in the characters and what happens in their life and what they're dealing with. And so it really follows the story where they seek someone older and wiser than them to help them understand and communicate better with men. And it's just, I've learned so many things about relationships just alone by reading this book. So I highly recommend it to everybody. You should definitely read it. The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong. I don't have a book club podcast episode about this, but I might in the future. So you can let me know at Laugh Often Pod on Instagram. Let me know if that's something that you'd want in the future. The next book recommendation is actually a book I just finished a little while ago called The Housemaid, none other than by Freida McFadden. So The Housemaid is a psychological thriller. The story follows Millie, a young woman with a troubled past who takes a live-in housekeeper position with the wealthy Winchester family. As Millie navigates the seemingly perfect household, she uncovers dark secrets and disturbing behavior from the family members, leading to a suspenseful and twist-filled narrative. Oh yes, so many twists. It is an incredible book. You have to read it. I think the movie's coming out on Christmas, so I'm definitely going to go see the movie, do a book club podcast, absolutely, and a movie review. Oh, it's so good. The twists, the turns, the writing's incredible. I think this book takes place on Long Island. Oh, it's so good. I love the writing style, and it's so suspenseful, and the chapters are so short. You don't want to put the book down. You don't want to put the book down. And all of Freida McFadden books are like that. She's an incredible author. Something that is actually interesting about Freida McFadden is Freida McFadden is not the author's actual name. That is her pen name, which I just discovered. She is a practicing physician specializing in brain injury and uses a pen name to keep her medical and writing careers separate, which I thought is also just so awesome. I love that quick fact about Freida McFadden. Oh my gosh, it's such a good book. The Housemaid is so good. I also read The Coworker by Freida McFadden. That's also another amazing book. I actually just got the second book of The Housemaid, which is The Housemaid's Secret, so I'm going to be reading that as well. But Freida McFadden, oh my gosh, Freida McFadden is famous for these plot twists, these twists and turns and suspense. It's so, I could learn so much from her, to improve my own writing with plot twists and just creating this like eerie, almost like suspense and oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? Sitting at the edge of your seat. It really feels like you're watching a very dramatic, like 10 limited series Netflix special that's super suspenseful. Like that's the equivalent. You know what I mean? Some would argue it's even better, right? Like than watching TV, because the book, it's just, it's so good just to have like a nice little suspenseful thriller book. Just cuddling up on the couch. It's there's nothing better. So definitely check out The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Okay, the last book that I'm going to recommend today is actually a book that I'm still reading. I have a few more chapters left on. Is Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown. So Hannah Brown is a reality TV personality. She was on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. She's also on this season of Bachelor in Paradise, which I cover every single Thursday with my friend Zoe. So that's super fun. Definitely check that out. I was watching Bachelor in Paradise. I was listening to some podcast with Hannah Brown, found out that she wrote a book. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to read it. And it's so good. It's very light compared to Freida McFadden's The Housemaid. It's very like a light romance, romantic fiction book. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So the book is a romantic comedy about two former rivals, Emma and Finn, who are forced to work together to find a missing bride on the weekend of their wedding. The story explores their complicated history and their almost relationship and the possibility of a second chance at love. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. The character development is so good. I love a classic runaway bride, romantic comedy, wedding drama, the love story with Emma and Finn on the side. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I really love her writing style. It really just makes me want to keep reading. It's so light and enjoyable and just so fun for the summer. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to read her second book, which is The 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain. Oh, I'm so excited to read The 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain. That's also supposed to be really good. That's all about Sybil's story. Oh, so good. Yeah, definitely. If you're looking for a light romantic comedy read, something just, overall enjoyable, something to read on the beach, at the pool, poolside read, beach read. Oh, it's so good. We love it. And that's all I have for you guys. I definitely want to make a part 2 of book recommendations because I'm going to keep reading more books and talking to people and this and that. So definitely want to make a part 2 of this. And for, some of the books, I want to potentially do some book clubs. Like for Mistakes We Never Made, I want to maybe do a book club podcast. For The Housemaid, I'm definitely doing a book club podcast. The Queen's Code, I want to do a book club podcast. Currently, right now, The Woman in the Window, The Girl on the Train, and Dark Matter, they are all book club podcasts on my podcast currently. So if you read those books, definitely check out my book club podcast episode where, I cover all the details and we have a whole book discussion. And it's a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. I'll keep you updated. Every Thursday, as of now, during the Bachelor in Paradise, my friend Zoe and I are covering every single week of Bachelor in Paradise. So the episodes come out Monday on cable, on regular TV, and then they come out on Tuesday on Hulu, and then Thursday is when I'm posting the recap episodes. Going over all the details, all the drama with Bachelor in Paradise. It's a lot of fun. And definitely check out the podcast Instagram at LaughOftenPod. That's at LaughOftenPod to stay updated with all of the podcast updates. Also, hit a follow on Spotify, Laugh Often. To keep updated and have it in your little library so you can be notified when I post episodes out every single Monday. And every single Thursday for the Bachelor in Paradise recap episodes. I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and we will talk soon.